Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to do something that's a little bit different. Well, again, that's what I try and do. But before I get into that, I wanted to just mention that soon there'll be a button next to my subscription button. It'll be like a join button. It'll give you a chance to look at what it would mean to join the membership program in which I'm setting up. It's going to be a year soon, so so I thought that this is like a good timing of introducing what I originally really wanted to do. This because the membership program will allow me to have more latitude in the type of videos I can do for you, and also it'll be more eclectic, the type of videos, and hopefully I think I've given the subscribers, the viewers, an idea of what kind of videos I do. And I'm trying to not go into the more popular type of ideas of reactions only, and that's a very limited I find a very limited thing, so I want to go a little bit more deeper in things, and hopefully express the main values of what this channel is about, which is love, compassion, respect, and understanding. But obviously, when dealing with things that are not, let's say, popular of the moment, or those type of videos don't do as well in the sense of viewership, and that's the sad part about the algorithms. Like I'm like this, for example. This is an interview that I think Aurora is trying to express her feelings about the environment, because she's at COP26. She was anyway, and it only has maybe 2,000 views, and this is over a week. And this from an artist that gets like maybe a few million views for one of her songs, right? A new song within the same time span. So and she's trying to use, I think, her platform to say something, and it's so hard to be heard when all these other, let's say, distractions are around, and people just want to sort of pigeon you into a certain type of idea, like, okay, that person is doing reaction channels, so that's about it, or that person is she's a singer, and that's all I'm interested in. I'm not interested in her opinions or whatever, but I am interested in what she has to say, because it's not just through the lyrics that artists like Aurora, Angelina, even Dimash, it's not just through the lyrics that they're trying to communicate, but I think they have something to say as well. And for those who are capable of expressing themselves, like Aurora, I think they deserve to be heard. And that's why I'm indirectly here promoting what she's going to speak about. And hopefully, and she tends to also incite some thoughts on my end, in which I hope to share if I can, if I have anything to say, and maybe that is also some interest. So this is one of the alternative type of videos and that I like to make. And like I said, since with the membership program, I don't need I'm not dependent on what the algorithms do, because the members themselves are what support the channel. That would be you, and that would give me, let's say, the opportunity to do videos that are not necessarily popular, but that I think are maybe something that is needed as opposed to what is wanted. At least that's what I think. Hopefully, I have your support. I know it's like maybe a minority of the overall population, but I'm hoping if I can have just a few percentage points, even of my subscribers, that would be such a big difference in my livelihood anyway. And yeah. Anyway, if you press the button join, there'll be an introductory video that you should be able to, that should show up somewhere. I'm not sure how it works, and that'll explain a little bit further the idea and so on. So press it and just to see what it is, and if you're interested, please join, and that would be amazing. And and the more members I have, the more leeway I have to do videos that I think will be appreciated. That's about it. So let me get going with what she has to say. So she's there, and she obviously set it up so that she can do this, so directly. Nobody's interviewing her. It's like her own, basically, whatever she has to say. So I'm really interested in hearing this.
I'm very happy to be here. I love it when you find yourself physically in the place where it's exactly where you should be. It feels very right. I'm feeling very appropriately coordinated with the world, and that's very nice. My experience so far here at the COP26 here in Glasgow is very inspiring. I'm meeting a lot of good people. Some people that have done great things, some people that have done great small things, but equally
when she speaks of being coordinated, I think she's referring to being like holistic, in the sense of like everything sort of is part of that the same movement that she does in everything, she basically, that's how she is, right? She sees everything as one movement, and being at a place where they're speaking about the environment, which is something that is is important to everyone, and for her, she speaks about and she sings about, it's all one movement, right? And that's why I think she feels very that she's in the right place at the right time, type of thing. Maybe she's the right person at the right time of this planet as well.
It's nice. I feel like it's very spiritual somehow. I do strongly believe that neither art, music, or fantasy books or anything lovely would exist without our planet and without nature to be the great divine source of inspiration that she is every single day. I'm reading a lot of fantasy books that takes place in nature.
Oh, yeah?
I love to read when humans try the best they can to describe her, because she's so complex that it's almost impossible to find any words worthy of her, if that makes sense. But I'm enjoying seeing people try, and I'm enjoying trying myself as well. But right now I'm reading a book called The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss.
Okay.
I strongly recommend. I'm feeling very sad.
Okay, I don't know the book, but it's interesting that she's into fantasy style books that have to do with the planet and talk about how the planet is. That's interesting. It's again, it sounds like a mythological type of style of thinking, and so on. Thinking like in my book, it's not like that. No, it doesn't deal with mythological things. It's more science fiction style, and it's somewhat harsh at times, and especially the first part. But the second part is where I think things sort of clear up, and I think it's that part that to me is the most important for people to get to, and yeah, it's sort of like you have to cross all these hurdles in order to get to something else, you know. And and I don't know, you know, like for her, it's, I don't know, she gives me the impression of being this, you know, Aurora I'm talking about, of being this, trying to see things always in a very positive, beautiful aspect, but at the same time she has this other side of her. So I actually don't know anymore, because I don't really know her, right? Obviously I'm just guessing a lot of the time, but I have this feeling that she has a lot more profound thoughts that she wants to express, which I'm gonna try and let her do right now.
Saddened
Oh,
by
what?
all the land lost. I'm feeling very saddened on behalf of all the indigenous people around the world who mostly have this amazing connection with Mother Earth, almost, you know, spiritual, and I can't imagine how much it must have hurt to both lose your friends and to die while trying to protect your land, the little that's left of it, and then seeing it disappear when you care so deeply. I find it really, really heartbreaking. I find it really heartbreaking that people have, that we managed to extinct a whole species that's taken millions of years to become, and then it takes us 2 years to remove its whole existence. It's just so unproportional and so confusing and so incredibly heartbreaking. And also the fact that, you know, this is the only planet with life within the whole of the universe as far as we know.
Okay.
And still we're managing to ruin it. It's such a rare thing. And it's just heartbreaking. So my relationship with the planet right now, it's very heartbroken. And I'm feeling very like you're gasping for air, because the sense of emergency is so present, but still it feels like the big forces in the world, the big companies, the big names aren't doing her justice. And it's frustrating, I think, for the people. But I also feel hope. A long
Okay. See, that's the beauty of youth, you know. Generally speaking, at least from the way I see it, is the hope factor. And you know, I in the video, if I could take a moment here, in the video Imagine, which I commented on, I expressed what I thought about the whole idea of why there's so much pressure on these artists, these young artists, that we put, especially the older generation, you know, because they represent hope. And actually, when I was watching Aurora's concert in the Nido Rostomen concert, I think that's what the name was. Yeah, it was very emotional, I found, you know, and especially one particular part in which I edited that part of that out, because of my reaction. I really felt a really strong emotional reaction, because I happened to stop at a picture of her face, right? And there was so much innocence and youth and so on in that picture that I had a hard time with looking at, because I felt like how sad, you know. It brought so much sadness inside of me because of how we left this world for these young people, for the young people. How my generation or the older generations have left this world and that's it, and that's why I had that emotional reaction.
Some time ago, humans had little to show off with, and we were just exploring, simply existing here on this planet and surviving. And then once we put our heads together, we accomplished amazing things. We even sent ourselves to the moon and we manage to be up on the moon and look at ourselves from space. And that's one example of what happens when we unite. And if that's not a proof that we can save the planet if we unite, I don't know what is. Because we've done impossible things before, and we can do impossible things in the future, or what seems impossible. And I think it's so important to just understand the value of coopermanship, if that's a word. But to understand the value of
It's amazing how her mind works. She always creating new words.
And understanding that this is a rare thing. Finally, we have one cause that actually touches all of us, that is very all of humankind against this global emergency, which is rare, because most things in the world, most global matters seems to turn us up against each other, or at least we create these strange battles where we seem to believe we have to fight against each other. But in this example, we have the chance to really unite. I think it will do wonders for humankind if we manage and when we manage. But yeah, I have hope. Of course I do. I find everyone here important. I find you guys important. There are many people here in the room. You can't see them, but they're here. And they're doing all of this, making sure we all get to think about this matter just one more time, and maybe something good will come out of our mouths that will inspire people or make people think. You know, every single human here is important. Things I say, or none of the songs I sing later will mean anything without anyone in the crowd. So, yeah, important, but just like everyone here, and everyone out there who are paying attention, I'm just proud to be a part of something where people are fighting for something because we should and we can, in comparison to often when people destroy just because they can. And that's really beautiful. Just the whole essence of today is beautiful. Of course, using my voice and doing what I can, and touring more green and all of those small things, but big things that you can do to make things better. But I love involving my listeners because they are eager to help too. And sometimes it's hard to know where to begin. So I try the best I can to offer a beginning to this journey and feeling that you're actually doing something, because I think most of us so badly want to do something, but we don't know where to begin. One of the things we're doing right now with my next album is that we offer the chance for people to plant a tree in a little forest when they buy my album, so we can hopefully create quite a big little forest, and like in hundreds of years, or in even 50 years, the trees will be all grown up and proud, and they will be there because of us. And that's beautiful in itself. And even though if it's just one tree, it's still one tree, and it's just important how many, if you spend some time, you can find so many interesting things people are doing out there, small things. I met a guy from Peru earlier.
Before she goes into that, but I find that interesting, the part about the trees, because there's so many trees and forests that are being either naturally burned down through the climate change because of the heating of the planet and the wildfires, but also because for economic reasons, like in the Amazon and so on. Like, we have to understand what money does, what it's all about, and if we can understand that, we can see how the system works. At least these are the things that are on the superficial basis. But ultimately, the changes that everybody's looking for have to come from within each and every one of us. Or else all these other things are just byproducts of whatever troubles we have within us. And that's... So the path is, we're always trying to figure out, okay, what can we do? What kind of organizations, or what can we do on the exterior to fix something that is actually a problem that's coming from the interior? And I think it's the other way around. We can't fix the exterior if we don't fix the interior part first.
Today, and he said that they're a part of recycling plastic, and then they repurpose the plastic and give them and make it into something people need, like toiletries, and it's just amazing. And they're just young people who volunteer, and they do it themselves. And I love, and I have his number now, and we're going to try to do something exciting together, because I love working with just individuals doing small but important projects, because individuals got us here in the first place. And I strongly believe that individuals alone, with our bare hands, can fix the problem too. I think art and music plays a huge role in this, but mostly because the people give art and music meaning, or at least it's in the heart and the eyes of the people that it becomes large and meaningful, which I think is very beautiful. But I think mostly it's because art and music and culture appeals to our soul, and there are few things left in this earth that appeals directly to our soul. And I think also art and music reminds us of something within us that we feel separates us from the rest of life on earth. It makes us have an essence and culture. It makes us have more meaning in life than simply surviving. It makes us have more meaning to be to wonder and to create and to explain and all of these beautiful things. And I think that's a very important part.
See, but this is where it becomes difficult, because the artist's mind, which is Aurora exemplifies that, is quite different than from other types of mindsets. Okay, her mindset is about holistic things, and because they see things differently, basically, but from other perspectives that are not from the artist perspective, and they see things quite differently. And that's where it's about, at the end, it's about the mindset of a person. And the mindset is something that is conditioned by a lot of factors from birth, from before birth, genetically speaking, and also birth, where you're born, what type of family you have, the environment, the schooling, all of that, makes for the type of mindset that a person has, right? And so a lot of this depends on a lot of different factors that makes for different perceptions of the same thing. While instead, if we can understand and free ourselves from the conditioning that we've had from all the factors that I mentioned, then we would be able to see things in the same way, no matter what the circumstances and conditioning has occurred. Like we're basically we would be basically annulling the mindset, you know. Free of that, we will be able to see clearly. And if everyone can see clearly, then that's where we realize we're the same, and the communication is the same, and we'll be able to communicate at the same level, and we would understand one another, and we would understand how to approach things from a perspective that benefits everyone. You know? So ultimately, it always comes back in my mind to things that we have to do inside ourselves, you know. Because on the outside, it's all beautiful, it's all nice, you know. But all these things, as I mentioned in the video, Imagine, you know, we've had a lot of artists in the past that have had that were enlightened, and they try to share different ideas on how to make this world a better place, you know. And what better song exemplifies that than the song Imagine? Because that's the ideal type of world that I think every sane human being, sane, that's a relative term, every human being, I think, ultimately would want, you know, I would want to see anyway. But we haven't moved towards that. I think we've actually moved away from that, and that song was made from a long time ago from an enlightened person. I think it was an enlightened person at the time.
Reconnecting with each other and our empathy and our emotional self, and then also the planet, because apathy is such a great enemy to progress. And whenever things become too political for us, too complicated, too based on fear, or too angered,
sorry, Aurora, you just gave me a great idea. She always inspires ideas, which is great, you know. Dealing with oneself and actually understanding who we are, and so on and so on. Basically, what we're doing, in a sense, is planting a tree inside us, so to speak, you know. And that tree slowly grows, and then we'd have a healthy forest of human beings throughout the world, and that would fix pretty much everything. But it, you know, and that takes time. Sometimes it actually, maybe the first 10 years or so might actually be worse. Just like when you plant trees, you know, when you plant, from my understanding, the planting of new trees actually causes more carbon dioxide to be placed in the air. Then when they grow and they become mature, you know, 10 to 20 years, then they start breathing in more carbon dioxide and breathing out less, so they become helpful, you know. So in a similar fashion, even ourselves, dealing within ourselves and trying to figure out who and what we are takes time, and at first it may not actually make things better, you know, overall. But ultimately, if the tree grows nicely, healthily, with health, and so on, and it becomes like a healthy tree, 10, 20 years, then all of a sudden you have a totally a beautiful new forest, you know, of human beings. I never thought about it that way. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but I think it's an interesting thought that Aurora has provoked. Anyway.
Feel shamed for not being good enough, or not doing, or not knowing enough. it creates apathy because we're afraid, which is natural. But I think, or I hope at least, that music and art can do an important part of just appealing to, you know, the opposite of apathy and inspire. But of course.
But apathy, and this is a very interesting point, because I've heard her say this, talk about apathy before, and it's a very important point, because it seems so difficult to change things, right? And it is. And the reason is because, like I said, ultimately we have to change ourselves, and we're looking for answers outside, you know, but all the answers are inside. But to have everyone else do that is very difficult, because each and every person has to do that, and you know, within themselves, and there are a lot of people are just too busy or too distracted or are not interested, or just their minds are not set up to do that, you know, and that's where distractions come in a lot, you know. So but I think we always have to keep in mind one thing, that ultimately, whether there's hope or not, there's only one thing that we can do to make us feel good, and that is to do the right thing. You know? The right thing for the future of the human race, for the future of everyone. You know, and regardless of anything else, because what else are you gonna do, right? So might as well do the right thing, whether it works or not. I think is secondary at this point.
Again, the people do it themselves. They are the one who let themselves be inspired. So I think it's important, but I also think it's only important because people care about it.
Okay, she's so sweet, it's incredible. So this is finished. All right. Okay, she's so sweet. She has such a big heart, and she wants to do so much. And I think that's what she's trying to, you know, she has this positive attitude, and she's young, and she's able to have all this hope, you know, in front of her, and you know, just looking at her face, you know, it makes me emotional, because I want her to be right, and I want her to succeed, and I want her to have the world that she's imagining, you know, and we, the older generation, have put her and people like her in a deficit condition, you know, not just financially, but just everything, the world itself, you know, in a moral deficit, in a environmental deficit, you know, and like I mentioned before, even my generation and the other generations, older generations than myself, have always had this hope and of trying to do something better for the planet in one form or another, always thinking, okay, we're going to do something that's going to do, but it's always about fixing a problem, fixing this, you know, fixing that, but never really realizing that to fix something externally, when it's caused by internal friction, internal fragmentation, unless we fix that, you know, how can we ultimately fix the outside, you know? So that's all I would like to impart, is that if the fix that we're looking for is within each and every one of us, and if we fix that, then if we can do that, then the outcome will be a fixed society and a world that we could live in. Anyway, just my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Aurora, you're marvelous. Thank you. Bye.